I want to answer this with a couple responses because I've gotten this comment from a couple people, or maybe it's you and a couple different profiles. But what I'll say is this: I don't know that about Richie. I don't know Richie very well at all. I know that he's been around and doing things for a very long time. And when it comes to being involved with him in a conspiracy conference, I think I'm excited to do it. What I will say is he gets the same comments about me, I'm sure, that I am getting about him. You got to understand that when people try to do this independently without being a part of the team, they get all kinds of slander, all kinds of things, and it's hard to believe any of it because you just don't know if it's just some gatekeeper trying to keep us away from each other.
He's blowing people with shotguns in the face in front of you, and he's giving you an egg McMuffin, telling you, hey, I love you, have some breakfast. And you're going along with it the entire time. And anyone in the back of the seat that goes, I think he's blowing people with shotguns in the face in front of you, and he's giving you an egg McMuffin, telling you, hey, I love you, have some breakfast. And you're going along with it the entire time. And anyone in the back of the seat that goes, I think
people are strange. When you're a stranger, faces look ugly. When you're alone, women seem wicked. When you're unwanted, streets are uneven. When you're down, when you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange, come on. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange.
Stare into nothingness in the empty hearts above. Pale figures, a mirror show. Our souls have turned to stone. Our hearts have lost their glow. In a paradise
What do you mean by the things that you had to unpack that happened to you? Explain. Just give me some idea of what that is.
Well, you know, like when I was taken there the first time, I saw him literally turn into something else in front of my eyes. Like he shapeshifted in the bedroom. It was freaky. And, you know, I can understand a lot of people would think, okay, this girl's a bit bonkers, or she was on drugs, but I wasn't on drugs and I'm not bonkers. You know, I saw this and I only saw it once. It was, 22 years ago. He suddenly turned into like a sort of dragon alien creature with huge black eyes. And it was when I was taken in the bedroom with him that this happened, and David Icke speaks about all this stuff. That's actually how I first spoke about it publicly, because I did an interview with Richard Willett from Iconic, and he's a great guy. He's almost like Sherlock Holmes. He's he does a lot of research, and he asked me the leading questions about the book I wrote, why is it called The Dragon, the Apple and the Butterfly. And then I had to tell him, because I saw Epstein turn into something. It only happened once, but it's such a vivid thing in my mind, because it just, it was very frightening. His head just went really big, and then he had these big black eyes, and it was almost like an alien, like devil-looking sort of thing with like horns, and it just really, I got, that's another reason why I was, of course, petrified. But I saw him shift into something. It only happened once. But I've never seen anyone else turn into anything like that. And it happened. It was like a weird hologram, and it had like big black eyes. And so it happened.
Big black eyes, and it wasn't quite reptilian, but it was esque.
Yeah, it was like reptilian, draconian, alien sort of thing. It was like, it wasn't like the usual reptilian pictures that they draw of people but I saw it, and it was like, and I was, when I looked at him and saw him as that, I decided to look away and look back at him. And when I looked back, it was him again.
Who has heard the poem called The Snake? So I have it. Does anybody want to hear it again? You sure? Are you sure? Has anyone heard of the snake? Have you heard it? Should I do it? But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. But instead of saying thank you, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
say I was with somebody once and I saw a transformation that I can't explain.
The person transformed into something other than human.
Yes, I saw it.
You were talking to someone. They said to you, look, something's going to happen here. I'm going to morph into something else.
Imagine you're doing something and suddenly you turn around and there's somebody else standing there.
You still standing by it?
Absolutely. I know it happened. In fact, it happened twice. And on top of that, what's amazing is we live in a world where, look, I've been in public life on some level for 30 years.
Yep.
People treat it as if I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm here to say, like, now maybe I had a hallucination, but I saw what I saw.
Right. You saw it. It's your reality.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, to question somebody's reality is a strange thing.
The second time you saw a shapeshifter, where were you? Probably at Darcy's house.
It was the same. It was the same person.
Oh, it was.
This happened with the same person twice.
Billy, when will you announce who this person is so I can investigate? Seriously.
I wouldn't name names.
But it's a famous person, right?
I wish it was somebody famous.
Yeah, because then that would be awesome.
Well, think of the book sale.
It was like Justin Bieber.
If you release their name.
Oh, it's a fantasy world.
Yeah, that's part of the music business, right?
Yeah.
I got to ask you this one thing before.
Sure.
Is because I read this and I was like, what?
By the way, this was at like the last 3 minutes of their podcast, right? And you can just tell there, like, this has been on Joe's mind like the entire time. And he just is like, okay, before you go, I have to ask you this.
Here we go.
You saw someone shapeshift?
Oh, God.
So nervous.
Is that real, or were you fucking with people?
No, it's true.
Really?
Yeah, it's true.
Because when you told me that you enjoy Kaufman-like moments, I was like, okay.
No, it's true. I would tell you off grid, but I won't say it publicly.
Really?
The only way I'd say it publicly is if I write it. And I've been writing this book for years, and it's in the book.
Really?
So I'd tell you off grid, but I can't. Look, I know Alex Jones sat in the seat, right? I know you've been on InfoWars. I've been on, there's a
Have you been on InfoWars
Oh, yeah,
too?
I think 3 or 4 times, yeah.
What have you been on InfoWars for?
Mostly talking about free speech.
Recently, I did a video of Alex Jones having a facial meltdown. It looked like he was having a hard time holding himself together. In the course of that video, I showed a clip from this 1977 backstage. I guess it was a little bit of a ceremony for Elvis. This was Rapid City, South Dakota. Here you see Elvis being presented with a plaque and the medallion of life from a little girl. Her name is easy to find online, but I didn't want to put it out here on this video. It's a little bit weird to have your name associated with this, and she is still alive. And let me just say right up front, I do not believe she is a shapeshifter. Now, let's get into the weirdness. Elvis is about to accept the medallion of life from the little girl. He's going to lean in, give her a kiss. Everything seems pretty normal up until this point. You'll see some pictures here in a moment, but then about here, things get a little strange. So now we're going to go through a series of pictures where you see the little girl have a range of emotions, and then right about here, she sees something wrong as he pulls away. What does she see? Well, we're all about to see it for ourselves as he stands up and looks at the camera right here. What's weird is somehow the guy holding the microphone misses this part, but here very soon he's going to notice something that is amiss. I think that'll be right about here. And he looks a little disturbed. After seeing this, he quickly walks away and then acts like nothing ever happened. Look at his face. Yikes. You also see a couple of Elvis's men seeing everything as it happens. One of them steps in front of the camera. The other man goes directly for the eye that was just melting. Here we go again, in real time. See Elvis's guy step in front of the camera right here. Then the other guy goes right for the eye. He saw exactly what happened. That's the only way to explain him going right onto the eye. Now you start to see some other weirdness around Elvis's face. Looks like he's getting holes around his eyes. Now, people will tell you, no, those were just dark circles under his eyes. You know, have you ever seen this phenomenon before? And also, look at the shape of his face and head. He looks like a turtle, if not a snake, right there. Now, that's important because this is the afternoon of the concert, just a few hours before he goes on stage. We're going to see him on stage here in a little bit, and he's going to look very, very different In fact, now is this the same guy we just saw? In this next picture coming up was supposed to be taken at the same time as the other picture. What is going on here? How does this even make sense? Now, as they're leaving, if you look back in the background, you'll see them working on Elvis, which he's going to need a lot of work to look like he did in the one picture, that's for sure. One more time, let's look again. I don't even believe that's the same guy. I just don't see it. He looks entirely different. All the way around. It's supposed to be the same day, the same night, the same moment. Even the little girl looks different. Now here's an article about those videotapes. You see the blurry part right in the middle is because this gentleman could not sell these tapes for profit. Someone got a hold of them years ago, I saw this online, and they put the entire 4.5 hours online. Now, someone has chased it all down, but that's where I first came in contact with this weird video, the one where his face blows up. The thing about the black and white videos is they're from a pure source. They were only handled by that one gentleman for years and years. So they have more of a clean line of ownership. Now, I don't know what happened to put this online or if he had anything to do with it, but someone snuck them out years and years ago and put the whole 4.5 hours on. I watched it. I didn't record it, but I remember seeing this initial video where his head explodes, and I just didn't know what to make of it. And then I went back, and it was gone. It disappeared. And now look how much better the quality is of this video suddenly from the one we had seen earlier. There are cleaner and cleaner versions of this floating around, and there is a version of this where none of this happens. Yeah, bothersome. But there, right there in the color, it was still visible. I've had a lot of time since the first time I saw this video to come up with crazy reasons that maybe his face did do this, but it wasn't anything unusual. Maybe he had a mini stroke. Maybe it was a medical condition of some sort. I don't know, but what kind of medication did they give him that made his face structurally that different in that short a period of time? I don't know. And what was the deal with the guy going right for his eye after it looked like it blew out of his head? Like the dude saw it. Also, one other thing while I'm thinking about it, I'm not going to rewind this tape yet again, but before his guy steps in front of the camera, he has his back to the camera and Elvis is talking to him. And then after he blocks the camera shot for a second and Elvis talks to him, the guy turns back around. And it's obvious he's looking to see the camera position, but he's acting like he's looking at something else. I don't know. I would love there to be some easy answers here because this is infinitely bothersome to me. Right down to the fact that some people seem to notice this transformation, then others don't. And as you continue to look at this, at different moments, he's equally horrendously hideous in each video, but at different times. And I think I'm about to call it a day. I just saw something once again I've never noticed before in the black and white film. I don't know, you spend too long with something like this, it begins to get in your head. My suggestion, whenever you're bored, go find this, screen record it, because it will be gone again, and then go frame by frame yourself. I don't know. Maybe this explains why Elvis was never wanting to go out in public. Now, I never could get a time frame here. You see him being worked on, and then you see him coming out, and there's another example of two pictures taken at the same time with the same people. Was it really? Or do you think the one on the left was maybe a makeup or mock-up later on? At the end of this video, I'll show you one more thing where Google's gotten involved in trying to cover this up a little bit that's also bothersome. But for now, we'll go back to the door and Elvis coming out to sing at his final live concert in front of a crowd. Here he is. Now, he looks much better here too, doesn't he? Same show. This is South Dakota. He played on the 19th. He played on the 21st. The 21st was South Dakota. There he is. Look at him. Is that the same guy from a while ago that looked like a turtle? And what is up with that? I don't know. All I know is this. There was a bunch of weirdness going around Elvis right there at the end. That's really all I have in that regard. And here he is on stage once again, looking like a completely different guy than the dude whose eye had just blown out and he was starting to turn into a turtle. Yeah, he's a little jowly here. Got some jowls going, but very different. Allegedly on drugs or not, I don't care. I ain't never seen no drugs that could do that to a person. Last thing before we go. This is how Google presents that day. If you go through a lot of their stuff. Now, granted, you will be able to find the video you just saw here, but Google doesn't really go out of their way for you to see it. After all, wouldn't want to disturb anyone.
Amazing grace, oh how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
This next clip is very interesting. The gentleman behind Elvis, who's treating his shape-shifting condition, is actually shape-shifting himself. So that means these handlers, these creepy guys that are working for Elvis, are just as creepy as Elvis himself. You can see the skin color changing. You can see the shape of his face changing. And, you know, although this video does appear to be enhanced, in other words, they did bring up the contrast, brightness, and probably tried to, clean it up a bit. I did go back and check to make sure this was happening in the original footage, and it was. In fact, if you go back and watch the original footage, the entire thing, you see not just this guy shape-shifting. There's at least two other people in this room who don't quite look human in certain parts of the video. So there's a lot to unpack from this whole Elvis video. It's not just Elvis whose, eye is blowing out and who's turning into a turtle. There's quite a few people in this room that seem to be having some issues containing their true origin of being some type of humanoid, reptilian, or I don't know what they are. But definitely you can see in the hands too, just like in the last clip with Elvis's weird fingers changing shape. I mean, this guy's hand, he goes from 5 fingers to like 3 clawed fingers, and his skin is like a grayish color, grayish blue color. Very, very strange.
First time ever I saw your face, I thought the sun rose in your eyes. trembling
The time has come to start having a serious conversation about these humanoid reptilian beings that are quickly taking over this world. Hence the name of this video. I was kind of referencing Planet of the Apes. The movie came out, I think, in the 60s, where the apes reversed roles with the humans, and the apes were in charge and the humans were locked in cages like wild animals. And I think we're getting to that point with these reptilian entities, you know, and it's not just the shape-shifting hybrid reptilians, the ones that seem to mostly manifest through celebrities and politicians, but we need to recognize and start taking more serious the growing number of sightings of the full-blooded species of these reptilian beings that people are seeing all over the world, in forests, mountains, abandoned mining caves, etc., and especially here in the United States. And this type of reptilian may be even more dangerous than their hybrid offspring. This clip that we're watching now is truly remarkable. This creature in the woods looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. And although that may sound funny, it's actually kind of chilling if you think about it. And honestly, I don't think this is fake. Shout out to NVTV for consistently sharing some of the most amazing paranormal clips online. But this lizard man seems to be almost beckoning these two people to enter the forest.
This was sent in by an adventurer, thank you. Apparently a farmer in India was having problems with his livestock missing, and he heard this creature coming from the woods and started recording. In the few seconds that he caught this. What is that?
What's the angry ones look like? The reptile ones that you were talking about?
Fucking bad. The ones that we're gonna be fighting.
Yeah, they have small.
Yeah, we actually saw those in Battle LA.
They had small eyes
in their
and
they cut open their stomachs and found
they got
out
weapons.
They have a heart, just a forward.
Yeah, weapons.
They're kind of like an onion.
Do they have weapons?
They have layers.
But it's okay. She's a veterinarian.
Are they evil?
Are the alien ones or not?
They look like reptiles, not onions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This is a very bad drawing, but this is pretty good to me.
This is dudes on Land and Lost, right? How tall are those motherfuckers right there?
These guys right here, and they're all humanoids. So they both walk on two legs. They all walk on two legs.
Well, I don't want to fuck that thing.
And this thing right here,
the first thing, and they're gonna let the fucking first one. I'd probably fuck
this thing right here. This thing right here is huge. They're actually they're taller than us. They stand about 6 foot something on an average to 7 foot.
Are they like 230?
They're huge. I don't know, but the one image that I have seen of them, they're huge. Like they have.
Creatures are called the Vril. They come up from underground different spots all over the world. There's a 1 to 1.5 foot tall one. That's the Vril Type 1.
The Type 1s are covered in red diamond-shaped scales. Vril Type 1s are real dumb.
Little dragons, those are the Vril Type 1. These lizards have a unique biological property of their bodies. The lizards have what's called a proboscis. It's an ejectable brain and spinal column. The small ones they use to drone people because the proboscis on young lizard type 1s, they're small enough to go into an eye and not ruin the eye. This top cap thing on the top of their head comes out. They can do this once in their life. It
pulls their spinal column along with it. The human would have to be restrained or unconscious. The thing squiggles in through the eye. It does a spiral around the optic nerve all the way to a certain point, and it's driven there by taste. And they said once it gets there, it has the taste of butterscotch. It then starts what they call splitting the quill. The spinal cord stuff comes out of the spinal cord, and it's everything that the lizard is. The lizard's whole body is dead, and it can't go back in. It's one way. The juice that's in the spinal cord gets excreted out of the tip of this thing. They're parasitic cells. The parasitic cells go into the brain. The old person's consciousness is gone. The body is absolutely, totally dominated, and the lizard is smarter as a human. Over time, it'll develop a rash, it'll lose its hair. And they're actually deficient. They're dumber than the original person. And they mimic human behavior, and it knows that its life is dependent on it mimicking human behavior, so it does really well. Even with other animals, it's smart enough to instinctually mimic the animal's behavior. The drones of 100 years ago erased any existence of these real lizards from like Egyptian carvings on walls. They would smash them, or books that had anything in them about them, they would burn them.
Okay, if you think I don't deliver, you're going to be calling me the mailman after these next two videos, but this first clip surfaced on TikTok and has been spreading fast, and for good reason. At first glance, it looks like a person walking through snow near a house. But as it gets closer, something feels off. The proportions are wrong. The limbs are too long. And those glowing eyes, not normal reflection? Well, the creature seems to move with intent, not just walking past, but heading straight towards the camera's direction. The original post didn't give much context, only that it was caught on a home security system somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. But the internet's already buzzing, with some calling it a crawler, and others swearing that it's a dogman. But watch closely and decide for yourself. Look at this, as we zoom in right here. Because at first from the picture you could be like, oh, is that just something staring down? And as we zoom in, and as you see it running, you're like, oh my god, okay, this could be a devilish creature. It could be somebody dressed up, even though I'm not getting, how would they do the eyes and the suit, and they look bald, and the hair? It all just doesn't line up with me. A lot of you are going to say fake AI, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, all right, but I'm trying to just look at this on how I think, okay? But there's something else that I want to show you. Look at this. Look in the mirror. The reflection of it. These are things I look at to see if it's real. Once again, look at this. The reflection of it in the mirror as it goes by. So let me know what you guys think right now. Okay, before you guys go throw this one away, this is from the Paranormal Files, and they said that they put it on their favorite trail, and they've had these, cameras up for literally a decade and never, ever caught anything like this. And as you can tell, what makes me want to believe this more than like others that I've seen kind of like this is, believe it or not, that you can't see it that good. I know that's like reverse of how it should be, but if this was just a creature just standing there like, hey, I'd be like, yeah, fake. But since it's moving like this, somebody either got perfect motion blur, which they must have spent days on it if it's AI, or this could be real. And if you look at the eyes, that's the craziest part. It's almost like this thing has like bright white eyes, whatever this thing is. If anybody knows what type of creature this could even be, please let me know, because as you guys know, I'm still new to this, 88% believability and all this stuff. But yeah, let that be known in the comments. And this was caught, I believe, also in Idaho. Idaho is the theme today. And it might be a little hard to see. We'll fix that in a second. But this was caught, I think, 6 years ago. And, you can kind of see it was in a picture. And then somebody took a photograph on their phone of the picture that some guy had, okay? Supposedly, this is from when he was hunting like 20 years ago. And he put it up online 6 years ago. And then he took it down. Supposedly, this is the story, okay? I don't know if this is all BS or all true. And then some kids that he let see it, one of them took a picture, they posted it. But Look at this. Look how tall this thing is. Tell me if you were in the woods, this wouldn't scare you to death. To me, that looks way bigger than a Bigfoot. Not, you know, by width, but by length. That looks 15, at least 12 feet tall. Plus, why the red eyes? Why you gotta do me like that? That means it can see in the dark and it can, you know, see all types of stuff you can't. But, I don't know. Let's try to make it a little brighter here in a second. Yeah, as we zoom in, we're gonna make it a little brighter and just kind of try to see what this thing would actually look like up close. Look at the leg on that thing as it's walking. I mean, I want to say it's extremely skinny, but is it? At that height, is it extremely skinny or is it fit? I don't know. There we go. As we change it, that's what it would look like walking towards you. Don't tell me you'd go up and shake hands with it. Or if you would, that's kind of badass. Let me know in the comments.
So the shocking admission came during the interview in which an astute interviewer noted that the Democrat presidential candidate, remember this is 2015, did not sweat during the interview. Who else do we know that said they didn't sweat? You forgot already? Prince Andrew. Remember?
I know I said that.
Yeah, but that's all over the news because that woman was accusing him of all kinds of horrible things, and he said, well, and she said he was sweaty, and he said it couldn't have been me because I don't sweat.
Uh-huh.
So it was interesting because this interview, Clinton says she doesn't sweat. So other reporters and Clinton associates have remarked upon Clinton's remarkable ability to not sweat, even when working the rope line on a hot Iowa day.
Well, you know, that's actually dangerous because you could die from that.
Not if you're a robot. So anyway, the host said, I don't mean sweat because you're nervous, I just mean physically. I'm genuinely curious what your deodorant is. So then,
who cares?
I'm going to tell you, and you're going to care when you listen to this. Apparently, though, it says the traditional one weird fact about Clinton, she says, the weirdest thing about me is that I don't sweat. And it's interesting because of this Prince Andrew thing.
That's not the weirdest thing.
So then, the BuzzFeed suggested that Clinton was a robot. And Hillary said, you guys are the first to realize that I'm really not even a human being. I was constructed in a garage
in Palo
Alto a very long time ago. People think that, you know, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they created it. Oh no, I mean a man whose name shall remain nameless created me in his garage. She said this.
Mm-hmm.
So then the interviewer says, are there more of you? And Hillary says, I thought he threw away the plans. At least that's what he told me when he programmed me. That there would be no more. I've seen more people that kind of don't sweat, and other things that make me think maybe they are part of the new race that he created, the robot race. It's fascinating. Then the interviewer says, so there's a cyborg army, is what you're saying, and Clinton says, but you have to cut this, you can't tell anybody this. I don't want anybody to know this. This has been a secret until we are here in Davenport, Iowa, and I'm just spilling my electronic guts to you. Oh, that was a pretty strange thing. 2015. You can look it up, the links in there. Thing. So anyway, well, that was interesting.
That's probably the first truthful thing she ever said.
Probably.
So, for example, you know, I've talked to people who have been in the presence of Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Right.
And Hillary Clinton has a presence of a demonic entity, if you want to call it transdimensional reptilian entity, that's so powerful, it's one of the most negative feelings I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And you've been in her physical presence yourself?
Oh, yeah. I was one of the doctors that took care of the Englewood Fire Department and the first kid shot in Columbine, Mark Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you're saying that in terms of Hillary, you're actually describing what you consider to be a demonic entity as opposed to a reptilian. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, it's a reptilian, all right. And you see it. You're not seeing a 5 foot,
so
whatever female. You're seeing a giant, you know, reptilian entity that's in a different dimension.
Exactly. But because it's a reptilian entity doesn't necessarily make it demonic.
Well, let's put it this way.
It's still an ET from a different dimension.
Oh, this would be evil. This is evil. This is evil. What people?
You guys are the first to realize that I'm really not even a human being.
But Lou and Tom went and briefed Chris Bledsoe, tried to get him into the fold, and this is what Bledsoe said Tom DeLonge and somebody else, Bill Tompkins, told his dad, which I feel like all these things are kind of overlapping in the lining, right?
Has met Bill Tompkins, the guy who supposedly built the ships for the space program. You know who I'm talking about?
I was referring to some of his. I was thinking of some of his illustrations in my head as I was describing it. William Tompkins, correct? Right.
Yep, and he sat there at a little Starbucks, I don't know what you call it, patio, seating outside.
Yeah.
My dad, Tom DeLonge, the Blink-182 guy, and Bill Tompkins. And they sat there and they tried to shop my dad. Shop him as in win him over. And he sat there and he told my dad that Bill Clinton is a 9-foot-tall reptilian. He eats. And the big secret that the government's been hiding, everybody, is that we're a cattle farm for lizards that live in caves, and the queen and the presidents are lizards. By the way, that's the same shit that everybody's reading online. So if they're saying it, you know, and they're meeting my dad, who he is, been studied by the CIA and NASA and all this shit, and then he's meeting this guy, and he's going to start spouting all this mumbo.
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian, cold-blooded. We're different from the president. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. I left the elevator trying to bridge for hell. That's a mighty long time, but I'm in that crazy. Punch a hell don't lie, the world you're living in. Take a look around, at least you got friends. I call my old lady for a friendly word. She picked up the phone, dropped it on the floor. That's all I heard. I'm not gonna let the elevator break us down. Oh no, let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Let's look for the purple banana till they put us in the truck.
every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. It is not good that man should be alone.
Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh.
Has God indeed said, "You shall not eat of every tree of the garden"?
We may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, "You shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die."
You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil.
Adam, where are you, Adam?
I heard your voice in the garden, but I was afraid because I was naked. So I hid myself.
Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?
The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate.
What is this you have done?
The serpent deceived me, and I ate.
The first time ever I saw your face. your face, your face.